What is up, all you unqualified people out there? Listen, here's our disclaimer at the beginning of this episode. We recorded a little bit of a roundtable episode with less mics than there were people. Also, Noah could not stop tapping his mic through the entire thing for some reason, or something, because there's a horrible banging noise that happens every 4 seconds. And the volume is inconsistent, and the topics are as well. So this episode truly is the least qualified thing we've ever done, and I hope you enjoy it.
Hey!
We're keeping it.
Hey, Noah.
Hey, Zephyr, welcome to the podcast,
Hey,
man.
thanks. I'm happy to be here. Joe, tell us about...
It's been good, man.
That's good. No, you just recently went on a...
Yeah, no, I did. I totally did, and you're never gonna guess what we found.
Yeah, well,
Yeah?
Huh?
really?
Yeah.
No,
That's
I-
insane.
I never would have guessed that.
So, actually, Zephyr, you were working on a...
Yes, been for a while.
Yeah, how's that going?
It's terrible.
Oh,
But it's done.
I'm sorry. Well,
I
it's
forgive
good it's
you.
done. Anyway, today...
All
Today
right.
is the most chaotic episode we've ever done because we are completely controlled by a gnome in a little booth.
Hello.
Her name is Caitlin, and she's my wife, and she's going to completely be in control of this episode. So whatever she says, we have to do. Right?
Mm-hmm.
That's right. Right?
Right. I mean,
Right.
completely? Or I thought she was just picking movies.
So, Caitlin, what are we talking about today?
The Martian.
The
Hey,
Martian.
Matt Damon.
cool.
Keith Edwards.
Another rule of this episode is that at any point, if Caitlin gets bored, she can just tell us to change topics, and we will. So we will talk about The Martian until she tells us not to.
My favorite part of that movie was how he only grew potatoes.
Yeah.
I thought it was really cool. Like Matthew McConaughey came to save him. Like that was pretty cool. And then he like
But then he
that?
turned. But then he
Betrayed
turned out to be
him.
the villain.
Yeah, he
But
was
then
the-
because Anne Hathaway lost 7 years of her life,
yeah.
What?
But he made it off of Mars.
and it was all fine because
Yeah.
in the end, the daughter was the grandma.
I'm genuinely not
Yeah.
following
they
this
went.
joke.
He got in the jet plane and flew
And then
away.
he was like, ooh, black hole scary.
And then it goes.
Come on, Murph. You know.
You
Is
know
this
what I'm talking
the-
about.
Hold on, that is
Did you
another...
guys read the book?
Did you not see Empire Strikes Back?
Oh my gosh. Okay, stop.
Oh,
we
I
didn't.
had-
Okay, what's next?
Pitch Perfect.
Oh,
Joe,
my
this
gosh.
is Joe's. This is
Oh.
Joe's turn.
Okay.
He used to have a crush on Anna
So,
Kendrick.
can you tell us why you have such an intense crush on Anna Kendrick?
I guess I haven't thought about her in a while.
Really?
Then again, I just got married.
I,
So
I haven't thought about Ellen Page in a while.
You know, I gotta be honest. Megan,
Elliot Page.
And moving on.
You know, I never understood the Anna Kendrick thing. I gotta be honest.
Okay.
She's got the
That's
knee
fine.
thing.
I'm
you know
not.
what
I'm
I mean?
not judging you for it. I'm just saying everybody has their own celebrity crushes.
That's fair.
It's the big teeth. I get it. I'm in the teeth,
Dude, what can I say?
It's the nose.
My mom was a horse girl, and I just love those big, honky chompers on her. Man. Dude, they're so good.
What is happening?
I could
Let's talk
feed
about-
that girl a carrot, and I could feel her go all the way up to the elbow. I'm not even joking.
On a serious note, Rebel Wilson has gone nowhere since that movie. I thought she was
Was she in
funny.
the Ghostbusters remake?
Was she?
I don't remember.
I don't.
I don't know. I didn't
really.
see
I
it.
watched
It just
that
feels
movie
like the
with
right
you,
vibe.
and I fell asleep.
I don't remember it
So-
honestly. I mean, was it just the premise? I know Bill Murray was in it, and they like killed him immediately,
In the Ghostbusters?
Yeah, they like pushed him out of a window because he was like, "Ghosts aren't real." It was very insulting. And then they remade it again.
You know who
and
really
Chris
believes
Hemsworth
in
was on that one
ghosts?
too.
Dan Aykroyd loves ghosts. It's funny because on Ghostbusters, he was like unironically like
Oh yeah.
because he didn't realize how much of a tongue-in-cheek kind of movie that was. That dude's like all in on the ghost train. And he's like very serious
Does he
about
use-
ectoplasm.
Like legitimately in
Legitimately,
real life.
if you watch
Y'all
in real
are talking
life.
about Pitch Perfect.
Oh, sorry.
Oh,
Sorry.
sorry.
No, we can talk about it. So, Pitch Perfect, if I had to give it a score out of our 100 scale, 1 is the best and 100 is the worst, it would probably be a 68.
I'll give it a 32 because
Wow.
I think that's how many times I've watched it. I can't.
Intentionally?
No, it's just that was one of the movies that you just always watched.
It was on. I only saw it one time. And
It's like Happy Feet. How many times have you seen Happy or Wally?
Okay, I've seen Wall-E probably 12 or
I've
15
seen
times.
Happy Feet.
Happy Feet probably
God,
the
too
same.
many times.
That was one of those movies they played in recess, though, when you're like,
Or
when it's
Band,
raining
or-
outside,
yeah.
and so you have to stay in.
Great
But
movie.
You watch 20 minutes of Happy
We're
Feet,
also
then
not
go to
on.
lunch.
You know,
So Pitch Perfect.
I was just gonna say, I can't fault anybody for being like, "Oh my gosh, have you heard this new song? It's crazy!" And everybody's like, "Oh, it's Fleetwood Mac." You didn't know Fleetwood Mac until you watched that one movie, Guardians of the Galaxy. I learned a lot of music on Happy Feet when I was in fourth grade. There was a lot of songs.
See, that's different.
I was like,
that's a
whoa.
different. That's a pivotal moment in your life.
And I was also in fourth grade.
Yeah,
And your feet
exactly.
were happy.
Yeah, dude. These
Can we-
kicks, scoobing.
Caitlin, do we have permission to talk about the new Guardians of the Galaxy movie?
I haven't seen it yet.
You haven't
seen it
No,
yet?
don't talk about it yet.
Can I say one thing?
If it doesn't spoil anything.
I'll allow it.
Thank you. The soundtrack of this one has been the best so far.
Really?
It's
Are
amazing.
there any ELO songs?
No,
Well, then you're wrong.
I am. There is a Flaming Lips song. though.
2095.
We're gonna start. So
That would be crazy.
that would be crazy. You know how those movies kind of influence modern culture for like a little bit. We're gonna start seeing more Flaming Lips come up of modern culture.
Oh, good.
Because it was "Do You Realize" played by the Flaming Lips in a really cool scene.
Oh, cool.
Who's James Gunn? He came back with a mission in that movie.
That's interesting because
Good.
good. I love James Gunn. He's the only reason those movies are so good.
Oh, absolutely.
But it's funny though because Flaming Lips is that's a lot later than most of the sound. Like the soundtracks have all been 60s, 70s, 80s. So
Yeah.
Well, this
so
one
Flaming
they
Lips
went
is
up to the
later.
2000. So they kind of, I guess they kind of noticed they were progressively getting more modern. And this one, there was even an early 2000 song in it.
Really?
Cool.
Let me
I'm okay,
guess.
that's
It
cool.
was a Maroon 5 from Songs About Jane.
It was not.
It was Sugar
It was
from the album 5.
crap. What
It
was
was.
it?
Oh no, I know what it was.
I don't know
It
if
was
that was the
probably
It was a song I haven't listened to often.
"Hit Me, Baby, One More Time."
But it's a good song. I've
Sorry,
heard it.
what I meant was "Ellipses, Baby, One More Time."
Guys, I'm bored.
Oh, sorry.
We're gonna move
Okay,
on.
we're changing.
Okay, so a bit of a shift in gears.
Okay.
I want you guys to talk about The Room.
The Room or Room?
No, The Room.
Okay,
Not
so
Room.
I do have to say that The Room. I don't know if we've rated it before because it's notoriously like the worst.
The worst
One of
movie.
the worst movies ever made. It's definitely not. It's not my number 100. In fact, it's probably only in like the 60s or 70s based on how entertaining it is.
Yeah.
Because it's so bad.
It's
It's
really
hilarious.
Yeah. Do we go off like director's intention, or do we go off
I go off on
Entertaining
I
value.
just go based on how much I enjoy it. How much I enjoyed it.
Birdemic?
Birdemic is that we can't change topics
Sorry,
until Caitlin
sorry,
tells
sorry.
us. The Room is actually hilarious, and the thing that caught me off guard about that movie. Spoiler alert for The Room. Have you guys both seen it all the way through?
Yeah, well, not all the way
maybe.
through. I've seen the key points.
So the highlight of the movie is the suicide scene.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I've seen-
and I didn't know that. I'd only seen the scenes that get parodied all the time. Oh hi Mark. And,
Oh, hi,
all
Mark.
that
Yeah.
stuff.
Oh, the suicide scene's bad.
Lisa.
Yeah, I didn't know that that's how where the plot went. But it feels so sudden. The dude doesn't it doesn't build toward it. You're just watching them live life and random things happen in a room, kind of. I don't know what the intention was, but they at the end he's like his girl leaves him for blonde
Lisa.
hair, Lisa leaves him for what's his
Mark.
name, for Mark, right? For Mark?
For Mark.
Maybe.
I don't
think
remember,
it
man.
matters.
Doesn't matter. But then he just kills himself, and that's like how the movie ends. And then they discover him, and they're like, "We were so wrong about you. You're actually the best guy ever, and I'm sorry we all treated you this way." And it's like you're reading a high schooler's diary,
Right.
like what he wishes his friends would say if he
Did they ever
This
figure
is what
out?
they'll think if I kill
Did they ever
myself."
figure out how he made all his money? Because he was like uber wealthy.
That dude is an agent for the Mossad. I don't know. That guy's something weird's going on. He's got to be a plant.
He's in the
I don't know-
Sandestin clan.
Yeah, I don't know where his money comes from.
Did you watch The Disaster Artist?
That
I did.
with
It was really good. Yeah.
What's his? I can't think of his name.
James Franco.
James Franco. I was thinking Jim.
I
Jim
think-
Frank. Yeah.
Which is funny because they made a movie that was profoundly better from all aspects than the actual than the
But
room,
it's
than
about
the
the
subject
room,
matter.
yeah.
And then what's his name? Tommy
Wiseau.
Wiseau actually go and see the Disaster Artist? Wasn't he like
Oh,
a big?
probably.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he was like on Jimmy Kimmel and Jimmy Fallon
During that time.
Yeah,
Good for him.
he's in on the joke now. He's definitely knows that people watch.
Well,
it
it's like
bad.
one of those jokes. You're actually serious, and everyone starts laughing at you, and you're like,
And you're like, oh yeah,
I'm glad you all
yeah,
got
he
the
definitely
joke.
did that.
I don't
You
know.
know who didn't do that is Neil Breen, who is the guy
Oh.
that makes all the movies about you know Neil Breen.
I don't actually.
Well, we're gonna have a little.
Yeah, we'll show you some
stay a
YouTube
little
videos
longer.
after
We
this.
gotta
He's the
show-
guy that he makes movies way worse than The
What's
Room.
name one of them?
Twisted Pair.
Okay, never mind.
No, they're all like straight to DVD.
It's real
terrible.
niche, dude.
Yeah, they're he's like Tommy Wiseau. Like he thinks he's a genius,
Mhm.
but his movies are absolutely
Just
terrible.
Tommy Wiseau gives
Photoshop.
off.
Butthole.
Yeah.
Tommy Wiseau gives off Death Dragon energy. Hashtag if you know you know. And it's alarming because the whole time I'm like, this is somebody's weird wired brain just telling them to go throughout life
We should
without
Yeah.
question. They just do what they like, and I respect it.
get
He
a
does whatever he wants.
bunch of money. We should raise a bunch of money
Okay.
and give DD a ton of money and just kind of monitor.
I kind of want to like get him to go.
Monitor.
Like, like keep a
That's fair.
watchful eye.
All right, we're gonna move on.
Okay.
So instead of The Room, let's go ahead. I want to just talk about Room.
Okay,
Room.
that's the one with
Room.
Brie Larson where she's kidnapped with her
Incredibly
son.
depressing.
I would rate
haven't
that
seen that
so
one.
much higher and watch it so much less.
Yeah.
Horror movie
Oh
where
yeah.
she-
If you said right
Yeah.
now which movie's better, Room or The Room, I'd say Room is infinitely better
Yeah.
by 1,000 times. If you asked which one I'd watch right now, it would be The Room. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
100%. I'm not gonna watch Room again.
Yeah, because Room makes me feel sick to my stomach
It's
every time I
terrible.
watch
Is
it.
it that bad? Or
No,
is it
it's-
like that
it's-
good?
It's about this serial killer rapist guy. I don't know what he is.
I kinda
Kidnaps
remember-
Brie Larson
Okay.
and keeps her in a shed that's soundproofed.
This was
and-
before Marvel, right? This was before she was in Marvel?
Yes.
Okay.
Before she was in Marvel, yes.
Not before Marvel.
Marvel is eternal.
In
No pun intended.
1920.
Anyway, she's kept in this shed, soundproofed, for years and years and years,
Mhm.
and he just sexually assaults her.
Well, she ends up having a kid, and most of the movie
Yeah, she
and the
has
book
this
is
kid.
from the kid's perspective of
Yeah.
the world. His world is only
His whole
four
world.
walls.
He's born in this room and he's raised in this
Yeah.
room. All he knows is
His
room.
perception of the world is a 10 by 10 cell.
Does anybody take a second and like evaluate the writer's like mind?
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you know, if I stood on
Are
the
they on
street,
a watch list?
if I stood on a street corner, like on Tahlequah, corner, not quarter, and I was like, I murdered 4 people, and here's where I buried them, and people started noticing, and I went out every day. I murdered 4 people. Here's where I buried them. Wouldn't it be wise to like look into that? Because if somebody writes the like Room, and you're like, that's the most horrible thing I've ever seen in my life.
I will say this as well. Alleged murderer who has been found innocent, O.J. Simpson,
Bronco owner, OJ.
Bronco owner, wrote a book called If I Did It.
Oh my gosh!
A whole book about if he murdered those people.
Did he say like, here's how?
He was
I
like, here's
would've-
how I would have done it.
Oh my gosh!
Which is actually hilarious. Like, that man's
They
life.
can't try him again.
He's just bragging that he got away with murder at that point. He's like,
Okay,
this is
well,
me.
the law said he did.
Okay, I work with the law. I know what it is. He murdered a woman,
Allegedly.
got away with it,
Allegedly.
wrote a book
Yes, he did do that.
Certifiably.
Certifiably, 100% wrote a book.
about how he did it, probably
Hypothetically.
exactly,
Yeah.
Hey, no.
and then made more money off of it and laughed.
the glove didn't fit.
Right.
So
You saw his big old hand in that tiny glove. What are you
You're right.
talking about?
He had a phenomenal attorney.
He was also a phenomenal football player.
He was a great running back.
Yeah.
He was an
That
incredible
guy.
running back.
That guy was. You
Not
watched his
and
highlights?
Have you
a
seen
pretty
his
solid
knees?
actor.
You want some more of this?
Sure. Yeah. Wait. What was he in? You said actor.
Naked Gun.
That's right. I forgot he was in Naked Gun. You think Leslie Nielsen ever thought back on that? Rest in peace. He's dead, right? I'm assuming. Leslie
Yeah,
Nielsen is
he
dead.
died a while ago.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I figured.
Well, they didn't cast him in. I forget what movie it is. It might have been American Psycho. It might have been It was something where the main character was a murderer, and they didn't cast O.J. Simpson because they were like, he's way too likable to ever be a murderer.
What are we supposed to be talking about?
Room.
Okay.
I would like to take a moment to acknowledge that one of our very own here just got married.
Hey, congratulations.
Caitlin, congratulations!
Job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me, guys.
It was
It
me.
was
It was
Joseph.
Joe. I just got
Joe
married.
Farmer got married to Megan. Now,
Yeah.
Megan Farmer.
Yeah, Megan, formerly Guthrie, now Farmer.
How's it going?
It's going so well.
Shout out Megan.
Fun fact: we have an apartment, and there are rooms.
Hey!
Whoa!
Yeah,
An
it's
apartment!
together.
Anything gonna reflect the movie
We feel,
relationship wise?
So Megan couldn't make it in today.
Right. So where is Megan?
She's back home. She's feeling real tuckered out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She said she was going to
a
come
real
today.
knucklehead. You know,
Really?
Just,
She's
yeah.
sleeping? She's been sleeping.
She's been.
I asked her like 2 days ago
about
about her.
It's that new marriage sickness. Yeah, everybody gets it. You guys know.
New marriage.
Yeah,
I know.
Yeah.
I would say Room gets a 40.
Room, I would probably give probably like a 33.
I haven't seen it.
Okay. Pick a number.
Give yourself some space. Like you gotta like.
It's
Like,
actually
I
horrific.
also haven't seen Clockwork Orange, so
That's more
Okay, well
horrific.
then-
That's far more horrific.
We're gonna move on then.
okay.
Okay. So.
Let's listen. This will be the last one. This will be a shorter episode.
Oh.
Will it?
Well.
Oh, do you have multiple?
No. This is just
Bad
flushed away.
Oh!
Hey, that's
I like
great.
that movie.
So, Flushed Away, this is what's funny. So, if you notice, Pixar tends to set the trend for what animated movies do.
Yeah,
Flushed Away is not
Yeah.
Pixar, okay? But I'm saying
DreamWorks?
Pixar. Yes, Flushed Away is, I think, DreamWorks. Pixar sets the trend. And then other animation companies, animation studios follow suit and try to piggyback off the success of
Correct.
Pixar. It always happens. So, like, the classic example is Bugs Life and Ants.
Yeah.
Right? It's
Right.
an obvious example.
Yeah.
There's also, after Finding Nemo, there were a lot of animated fish movies. Some are very low budget. Some are straight to DVD. Clear, that always
Some
happens.
are
But
better.
some are great, good, big budget
Shark
movies.
Tale.
Shark Tale
Tale.
came after Nemo. That's the example of a pretty good animated movie by a big budget studio.
I actually wasn't
Comes
allowed
after
to
Nemo.
watch that one as a kid.
Because Will Smith.
Is it a racist
Yeah,
thing?
I don't know.
I actually wasn't either. I only could watch it on my Grammys.
Right?
Why?
Oh, yeah, I bet it was the sexy fish.
Oh, the sexy
Was it
fish.
the implications
Oh.
The
that
implication that fish get it on.
maybe?
Which we all know
They
doesn't
do.
happen.
Oh,
Premarital fish.
No.
Nookie.
We all know that the fish stork brings the baby fish to the parent to the fish parents. Okay, in a little sack.
I can't
Anyway.
give props to Fish to how it's done though.
Okay, I just want to say if that was the reason behind you guys not being able to watch Shark Tale, then you shouldn't have been able to watch Magic School Bus, where they decide to put themselves in a salmon egg, and a salmon comes over and fertilizes the egg.
Oh,
That show. Okay, but there's a lot of episodes of that show that were pretty
So
wild.
that fish.
All right.
it's like that one episode of Zaboobafu.
What did you
Bro,
just say?
Oh,
Right?
I don't know what that is.
Yeah, well, they
That
had
sounds
a
like a
Miss
deep
Zaboomafu, and they actually had
Zabumafu?
Zaboomafu.
Zabumafu.
You weren't a
Cat's in
homeschool
the bag.
kid.
The
then,
cat's in the
Joe.
bag. The cat is not out of the bag. The cat's out of the bag.
I'm gonna bring you in. Sorry,
That's hilarious.
you had to be there. So Flushed Away. It's about fish. It's about a
it's
rat.
about
It's about a
mice.
rat.
Rat.
Sorry, but my point
frogs.
that I was making was that Pixar sets the trend, and then other animated companies follow
Well, that's
suit.
right.
Okay.
We talked about Flushed Away and immediately started talking about
No, but
something else.
I'm setting this up because I always assumed. Careful with it. I always assumed.
This,
Yep.
don't want it to.
I always assumed that Flushed Away came out like the same year as Ratatouille, right
Yeah.
after, and that it was one of those clones because it's about
Whoa.
rats or whatever.
Wasn't like super. Like
It's not.
15 years.
It's before. It came out the year before Ratatouille.
Oh,
Flushed
the year
Away.
before.
Yeah, it came out.
Why did I say 15?
Ratatouille was 07, and I'm pretty sure Flushed Away was 06. Correct me?
Well,
06.
I don't know. I have no idea.
Jamie, look this
I
up.
will look.
Yeah, Jamie, pull it up. Let's, when did Flushed Away come out? We need
Okay,
something like
Flushed
that.
Away 2006.
Okay, yeah, so a year before Ratatouille. So it's not a knockoff at all.
Well, The Rat and Flushed Away was Why, an escaped convict? What was the premise of that movie?
See, that's what I'm trying to
No,
remember.
so the
I
rat
don't
was
remember
like, he had a posh life, if I remember.
Oh,
correctly.
he was like in a rich person's apartment, right?
Right.
He was like,
And then he got
a
flushed
rich
down
Oh,
a
when he got
toilet.
flushed, and then he had to go to like the underworld with rats.
Flushed
Oh.
away,
And-
yeah.
and
And, the
figure out how to-
frogs.
yeah.
The frogs were like the mafia or whatever.
Oh, it's like trading places with rats.
It was like
Except
trading
nobody traded
places.
places. He was just poor.
It was just become poor. It was like
I have become poor.
I have become poor, the destroyer of money. Shout out my boy Oppenheimer.
Hey, RJ!
Hey, RJ Opp. Anyway,
chaotic
so,
episode.
it's so chaotic. You need one of these every now and then.
Just a good. Joe, how often are you going to be here to do podcasts? I know this isn't a,
Well, we
a
can
lot of
we
topics.
can also do.
Oh, that's
online.
right.
We can do that anytime.
Yeah,
Right.
Zaboomafoo, whatever it's called.
Zencaster.
Yeah, that.
Yeah. So, yeah. For the record, we're all live in the studio right now. So we're
Yeah.
actually in person, which
Yeah.
doesn't happen always.
Does it smell bad in here now, Caitlin?
I'm probably just used to it because I've been in here the whole time.
See what I
No.
So the answer is no. Anyway, flushed away. All I remember about it is what we've.
I was about to say, it's been
Since it came
a
out.
minimum 17 years since I've seen it.
Yeah. I do remember liking it.
Me too.
Yeah, if I'm going off my former memory,
If I'm going off.
That was
if
one
I'm
of
going
those-
the way I felt when I originally watched it, probably like a 2.
Yeah.
But I don't remember it. Well, I was also
That
8
was-
when I watched it.
It was one of the movies that made a McDonald's Happy Meal toy, wasn't it? Like they.
That's a low bar, to be honest. There were a lot of McDonald's.
Yeah.
Remember the Shrek cups that killed people?
Yeah.
Your dad has all of
We
them.
have all in a
You have a
display
collection
If you don't know,
of chromium laced.
if you don't know, when Shrek 2 came out, Burger King, it was Burger King,
Burger King.
issued, like, you had a chance to win a Shrek glass, and it was like a cool glass with a Shrek character painted on it, and you could collect all the characters when you ordered a meal. And then after like however many months, they had to recall all of them because they had like lead paint or chromium
Oh,
or whatever,
yeah.
something that was super poisonous, and if you drank out of them, you could get cancer. And so, anyway,
You know how
we
many-
have all those in a display case.
You know how many of those?
Wild.
Yeah.
You know when you're at a thrift store. I know this is not.
Yeah.
This is another unallotted
Not allowed to
topic.
drink out of those. Do not.
Say what?
This is another unallotted topic. But when you're in a thrift store and you see those dishes that kind of glow and they're green,
Oh, the radium? Yeah.
uranium.
Uranium. Yeah,
What?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I don't know this. I've never
So
seen a glowing dish.
when you go to a thrift store, and
As I do often.
Yeah.
And I know I avoid the dishes aisle except to get mugs. That's the only thing I get.
well, if you see a kind of an opaque clear, but it's like a highlighter green almost,
Yeah.
but it has a visual glow to it. Not only in light, it'll glow when you turn the lights off. Vaguely, if it's fresh, if it's like one of the dangerous ones. They actually treated that with uranium
Yeah.
to
That's
get it that
crazy.
color.
Why it glows, yeah.
And so, if you drink out of it enough, you become a superhero, or you get visited.
You get
by
met by
you get visited by
superheroes.
superheroes in St. Francis.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like, hey, it's Chris Hemsworth,
Oh, my favorite superhero.
my favorite superhero. And he's like, "How you doing, bud?" Like, I'm doing better now. Anyway.
Okay, well that's all the movies I have.
Oh,
for you
that's
guys.
right.
Hey,
It's in
thanks. Are we allowed to end the podcast now?
Yeah.
All right. Any last words, everybody?
What's the best movie you've seen in the past year?
I'm sorry, I thought it was my day.
No.
You just ended it, so now this is all bonus episode. I'm going to tell you exactly what the best movie I've seen in the past year, like not in 2023. You mean all the way back to
Like the past 12 months.
12 months?
Catwoman.
I was going to say calendar year, but I didn't know if that had to be from January to December.
So I recently watched The Menu, and I've also
Menu's great.
watched
So
A Year of the Dog. And if you
I
want to
didn't
watch,
see that.
if you want to watch a movie with Benedict Cumberbatch and what's his name? He was he played that one guy towards the end of Breaking Bad, like the hillbilly redneck guy that was kind of in the Breaking Bad at the end of, I forget his name. He was also in it. Very confusing, very almost artsy film. It's on Netflix. It's actually not a bad film if you're into those kind of things, which I am. Those are my guilty pleasure. Those movies that are like, this makes me uncomfortable and I don't know what's happening. And then the end of it, you're like, oh, interesting. I actually really enjoyed that movie. I know that was a very vague
You
description.
really don't. No, I don't want any more detail. If it's gonna spoil it, and I'm gonna go watch it.
It's one of those movies that can be spoiled.
Is it on something?
Netflix.
Perfect.
You can go watch it right now.
Cool.
I actually think it's a Netflix original.
Cool.
Very artsy. Yeah, very good.
Fantastic.
There are two I want to mention, but to answer your question, the best movie I've seen in the past year is Little Shop of Horrors with Rick Moranis, the musical.
Cool, yeah.
Like the old one?
Yeah, from the 80s with the
Okay.
musical. So
You haven't seen that up to this year?
I had
Really?
seen it as a kid, but I didn't remember
Oh,
anything. I
fair
watched it in
enough.
like theater class in 6th grade. I don't remember.
I thought that was one of those
And-
movies that you would have seen.
I loved it. It's like up my alley. You know what I'm saying? It's
Fantastic.
It's so good. And so I know this because I looked at my top 101 movies of all time, and that rarely changes. That list.
Don't pull her.
The
Do
cat.
not pull her. Just lift her up gently.
She's got a hold of it.
Let go. Sorry, our cat's being a cat. I had only.
Aw.
Yeah, she's sweet. So, my 101 list, my top 101
Right.
almost never changes. It takes a lot for a movie to be added to that because the top 50 movies I've ever seen are 5-star movies.
Right.
They're the only 5-star movies. After that, it's 4.5 star, then 4, and then whatever. And so, anyway, I saw 2 movies in the past year that were so good, I gave them 5 stars, which means I had to put them in my top 50 movies.
Yeah.
One of those was Little Shop of Horrors, and so that's like in the 40s somewhere. And then a little lower than that. Oh, sorry, cat. A little lower than that is 10 Cloverfield Lane.
Yes.
That is an
Thank
insanely
you.
good
Great
movie.
movie.
Yes.
And I don't like Cloverfield, the first one. I don't like it that much because I hate found footage. But 10 Cloverfield Lane is one of the best movies I've ever seen. So
Isn't
those
it
2 movies.
Insanely
So
good.
Yeah,
And it
those are
takes
the-
place in a room.
The Room.
Yeah,
The
full
Room.
circle.
So those are the 2 that I had. Joe, best movie you've seen this year?
I don't remember all the movies I've seen. Probably
You
the-
asked the question.
Yeah, you're right. Probably The Menu, because that's the first one I heard that I'd seen. Cool.
Cool. Caitlin?
Yeah, what's
Best
your
movie?
best movie you've
In the
seen this
past
year?
Since last summer?
Whoa, hello. I don't know. What movies have we seen that I really liked?
Willy
There-
Wonka.
Where there were those that we mentioned. There was See How They Run. There was, which is also fantastic. See How They Run is amazing.
I haven't seen that one.
It's murder mystery.
Because I
Whodunit.
can't think of anything else. See How They Run.
Wait, yeah. I have. I'm sorry.
The one with Sam Rockwell.
I
and
wouldn't
Saoirse
take
Ronan.
I want to take my movie back.
Okay.
What's that movie we watched with your dad? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to over.
That's all I was gonna say.
See How They Run.
So,
Okay.
Yeah, you're good.
What movie we watched?
The movie we
In
watched with
theaters?
your dad in the den at your dad's house. We watched with Luke Foster. To
Shout out.
specify.
What was it about?
It was the comedy with
Oh
Batman's
my gosh!
Oh.
Yes. Noises Off.
butler. Noises Off.
That is also up there.
That's
That's
the-
amazing.
Noises Off.
That's
is
the best
incredible,
movie I've
yeah.
seen this year.
I honestly, if we're talking calendar year since January, that is easily the best movie I've
That
seen.
was such
Because
a
the
good
2 I mentioned were from last fall.
I
But
did
yeah,
not expect to enjoy that movie as much as I did.
No, that movie was
Noises Off.
amazing.
I cannot recommend that movie
I couldn't stop
Yeah.
laughing.
enough.
If we're allowing the fact that I have seen it before, like if we're allowing second viewings, I would also rate that since January.
Oh,
It's-
yeah, true.
it's
If we're
one of
allowing
those-
second viewings, then Office Space, because I saw that 2 days ago.
Yeah.
And that's my number 7.
We're just gonna
all
go
time.
first viewings.
Okay. Anyway, what were you saying about Noises Off?
I was just going to kind of give it another shout out. It's a comedy, but not in the sense of like a traditional like slap you in the face with the humor. It's such a clever comedy.
Witty, very cleverly written,
Perfectly written.
very
It's
dialogue
great.
heavy. But
And if
it's-
yeah,
Well, it's like a play. It's written like a play because it's
Yeah.
about a play.
it is.
It's great.
It was originally a play about a play.
No, it's a movie about a play.
what's it on? We had to rent it,
We had to
didn't we?
rent it, I think.
I think they rented it on Amazon.
Who cares? It's worth
Worth a
$3.99.
rent.
It's worth
Oh,
$3.99.
yeah, rent
Go
it.
rent that movie.
Yeah.
And watch it.
It's mildly. It's a mature, family friendly movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd say you could watch it with your family if you give the kids a little talk before, depending on how old they are, because there's some sexual stuff, but
If we're-
nothing graphic.
Yeah.
It's just like there would be in Clue or anything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm gonna include TV shows.
Yeah.
Barry ended.
Was the ending good? I haven't watched it.
It was. If you. Yeah, it was.
H-
It was good, but you have to understand what the show is about as an allegory to
Okay.
like it.
Oh, gotcha.
I think. Because I don't think if you're watching it's like, oh, like Bill
So-
Hader is a bad guy, burp, and then you watch the ending, you're like, that was not great. But if you're like the whole show is an allegory for Hollywood, perfect.
So
Incredible.
like I know.
Interesting.
So like I know what allegory means. But if someone on the podcast didn't,
So
Yeah.
it's like a crocodile, but the noses is different.
okay,
Yeah. yeah.
okay, okay. So
TV show? I don't know. I don't watch a lot of TV.
HBO updated. It's not like HBO
Oh,
Max anymore.
It's Max.
It's just,
just
Max
Max.
now. So I lost all of my login credentials for.
I'll send them to you.
Thank you.
It's the same,
I actually
are the
borrow
same.
my dad's. Shout out,
but it's
Sean
still
Cares.
the same. Because I borrow his mom's.
It is still
and
the
it's
same, but you
login.
can have mine if you want it.
I'll take yours.
Because,
Do you want to say it on the podcast? Can you give it to
Nah.
me while we're recording?
bro, Zachariah, Colin.
Yeah. Well, it all updated, so that everyone lost everything unless they remember it.
It's true.
Yeah.
Oh, you're right.
Your account activity has
Sorry.
gone down.
Paul Martin, if you already had an account, whatever, you can't use mine, unless you want to.
Yeah. Give us a
The
call.
username is
Joe. The password is also Joe.
80085
But turn it up.
colon right parenthesis.
Colon. Yeah, I don't use a colon ever. Right parenthesis. Oh.
I actually remembered a movie that I probably liked better. I really liked, I think it was called The Sting. This is random.
The Sting,
That was a really good
dude.
movie.
Yep.
Stings.
I showed Caitlin The Sting, which Paul Newman, Robert Redford, classic movie.
I haven't seen it.
73, I believe.
Wait, what?
We stopped 10 minutes ago.
Stop what?
We ended the episode.
Oh,
10
but we're
minutes
still
ago.
recording.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm just saying.
Now we're just
we
talking
were
about
supposed
movies.
to end 10 years ago. This is what this
Yeah.
podcast is. The Sting is amazing. So, have you guys seen Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid?
No.
No.
That is one of my top 50 movies of all time. I love that movie. No, I'm serious. You can look at the list. I love, speaking of which, shout out ZephFoster.com.
How much do you pay for that a month? Domain.
I'll tell you after.
More than $10?
Barely. It's about that.
$10.99.
Anyway, and that's for like the hosting and then the design.
It's worth it.
Squarespace is worth it. Squarespace is
Oh,
great.
it's Squarespace.
Yeah.
That's why your website looks so professional
Yeah,
and well
shout
done.
out Squarespace.
Sponsor our podcast.
Please
For our
sponsor us.
sponsor.
We have 10 billion listeners. Anyway, the point I was making was Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid stars Paul Newman, Robert Redford, 1969, I believe.
Right.
Nice.
And that is an amazing movie. Another movie, also with Paul Newman and Robert Redford, directed by the same guy, is The Sting. Came out 4 years later. I showed that movie to Caitlin because even though I like Butch Cassidy more, I think she would like The Sting more. We watched it together. I've seen it twice this year.
Western?
No, it's not. Butch Cassidy is. The Sting is a heist movie.
Oh.
And it is my favorite heist movie.
I'm
by
all
far.
for heist. I haven't seen a good
Heist
heist
movies
movie
are
in
great.
a while.
I have. I watched one this week.
The
It was
Sting.
Fantastic Mr. Fox.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I've
I
watched that
knew
movie.
it was you watching
Wes
that.
Anderson. Wait,
You
wait.
saw that on
Yeah,
there?
I was like, oh, you're halfway through it, and I was like, well, who could possibly be watching that and
Man,
hasn't seen
I'm
it
gonna
yet?
watch that
Except for-
It was
tonight.
me. It's so good,
No,
dude.
in fact,
Watch
if you
it.
give me those credentials, I'll go watch it.
Do it. You should. You should. It's great. But it's not my favorite heist movie. My favorite goes to The Sting, which is just incredible. It's just a well-written, well-acted, fun. Like, it's just great. It's gripping all the way through.
Fantastic, Mr. Fox. I'm sorry, I'm
there you
stuck
go.
on that. Is
Yeah.
it like a live action? Is it claymation? Or is it
Claymation.
like dolls?
Claymation.
Okay.
It's great.
Actually, you know what? I'm going to change my answer because the menu was really good. The past 12 months, I think the best movie that I'd seen for the first time. Sorry, Seif, that I didn't watch it when you had rented it.
See,
And I told you that I did. Glenn Ross.
I've heard of it. Not seen it.
Also, shout out to Barry season 1, episode 3. I don't know.
Is it a call to that movie?
They do a scene in that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Really?
Really?
Yeah.
Wait.
They
really?
on stage do a scene from the movie.
Is it an allegory to that movie?
Really?
Is that how I use that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait.
Mhm.
Really?
Really, really.
Anyway, thanks guys for listening to a not
Are
qualified.
you trying to end the episode?
So if you want to, don't forget to leave us a shout out. We have a phone number on Google that you can call. So from you know the number
You know it.
918.
841.
No, no, do not give out my real number. No. Okay. Now we-
Oh, they got
now
1,000 tries.
No, they have
No,
10,000
10,000 tries.
1 in 10,000 try to get that. Anyway, the number for the podcast is 918-268-6337. You should call us, leave us a voicemail, and we will eventually play it on the podcast and respond to it and do an episode over it, which we haven't done in a while. We have some in the queue that need to be recorded.
We should put one in the beginning of the episode, and then don't mention it for the rest of the episode because we haven't until now.
Oh, so now if you listen this far, you understand why it started that way.
Exactly.
Great. More work for me in the editing.
Yeah, I
process.
don't care.
Thanks.
You should also make us like have explosions, like in our voices.
I'm
Yeah.
not doing that
Why not?
because I don't get paid for this.
Wait,
I
yeah,
pay
you
to do this.
No, you don't.
We just talked about the Squarespace subscription. Anyway,
And it's cheap.
How cheap?
I'll tell you I'll tell them if they sponsor us. But what were we talking about?
No, yeah, I agree. I think
What were we
For
just
sure,
talking-
for sure.
Please, I'm
Yeah,
serious.
me too.
We were talking about
Me
something.
too, man.
Yeah,
Don't
no.
do this to me.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Absolutely.
Leave us a voicemail.
He's doing
Leave us
it
a
again.
voicemail. 918-268-6337. And then,
What's that?
and whatever, they can rewind.
He
And
just starts
then,
listing numbers when it gets like this. Kaylin, can you get his
4, 8, 15, 16, 23, 42.
Hey, bud.
It's like in Call of Duty Black Ops.
Yeah.
Just the numbers, Mason. What do they mean? Oh gosh. Okay.
What did
Shout
that
out to
mean?
Call of Duty Black Ops. It was because he was programmed. That became.
Just in the video.
No, it's not a video.
time.
And we're.
Oh.
The other thing was leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or wherever you leave reviews.
Or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Just-
That's a common thing.
Where
to
are
say.
you listening to this right now? Leave a review.
Leave a
there.
5-star review.
It has to be 5 stars.
Even if you hate it, just out of spite.
leave a 5-star review, but then put in the text portion that you hate us.
Yeah.
and,
No,
and you actually think it's 1 star, but make it 5 stars
But
so
make
that
it
the
5
algorithm
stars.
likes us.
Right. So we'll pay you money
Yep.
Yeah.
eventually.
Yep.
Maybe.
Asterisks.
We'll see.
Patent pending.
Patent pending.
Mm.
Asterisks.
So
Anyway.
Pitch Perfect, 69.
Out of 100?
Yeah.